Welcome to A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV. You're here with Amanda Hall, psychic, all the way from the Gold Coast here in Australia on this absolutely fantastic summer's day. And you can't guess that it's my favourite time of the year. I really do like the warmth. And also I like it because it's the Sagittarian time of the year. It always makes me feel uplifted and positive as we head towards the festive season. And look, I know many of you say, oh, look, not Christmas again, but I absolutely adore Christmas. I love all the Christmas carols and all the positivity. And I feel that it sort of puts people in a good humour. You know, for those of you that have had a tough year, you sort of think, well, thank goodness this year's almost over. And for those of you that have had a fantastic year, you're reflecting back and saying, wow, what an amazing year. So let's kick the show off with the tarot card of the week. Now, normally we feature a card from the Simply Tarot set. I'm going to start featuring from this week onwards the new addition to our tarot stable, and that's called The Secrets of Tarot. We're up to our second edition, and I know I've briefly spoken about it before on the show, but I thought it was maybe time that we introduce this one properly. So this week we're featuring The Secrets of Tarot card of the week, and it's the Hanged Man. Now, the Hanged Man is getting stronger in oneself after a lot of deliberating and delaying in your life. So it's a very, very powerful sort of card. And for many of you that this has been a tough year, 2019. So it's been a time where you've really had to rely on your own instincts, your own abilities and things like that to see your way through the maze that's been happening this year. And for those of you now that are coming out the other side of this, you're starting to feel a lot stronger in yourself and saying, well, now I have a direction, now I have a purpose, now I know where I'm going and what I want to achieve for the remainder of this year and moving into 2020. So isn't it an amazing card to have? And the very first one that we're featuring here on the show from the Secrets of Tarot deck. So I'll just quickly turn it over so you can see that it has a different back. It's got a blue back. For those of you that are into blue, this is a very powerful message on the back of this card. It's sort of almost like blue diamonds in a sense. So it is a beautiful card to work with. Yes, they're very similar to the Simply Tarot set, but these have got an oldie worldy finish, and that's what makes them different and unique. We still have the same meanings that we have on the Simply Tarot set, but this is just sort of a set that might sort of interest other people. So I'll just quickly show you the package that it comes in. You can purchase these around the world. If you can't find one in your local bookstore, you can always head to my website, www.amandahallpsychic.com.au. We have plenty of them in stock that we're happy to ship around the world. So this is called The Secrets of Tarot. It was launched only a couple of months ago around the world, and it's a teach yourself kit with a book and a set of the beautiful Secrets of Tarot cards that we just featured on the show a moment ago. So I want to sort of head straight into astrologically what's happening around the world, because we've had a major planetary shift this week. We've got the planet of opportunity, expansion and luck has just shifted out of its 14-month cycle in Sagittarius, and it's now moved into the next sign of Capricorn. Now, I hear a lot of people say, well, how is that going to affect me? I'm not a Capricorn. Well, every time we have a major planetary shift, it does affect all the 12 signs. And this is just a general overview of what we can expect with Jupiter, the planet of expansion, opportunity and luck, higher mind and values moving into Capricorn. Now, anytime we have a planet that shifts into Capricorn, our focus then moves on to big business, it moves on to governments and anything official in our lives. So I'm hoping with the shift of Jupiter moving into Capricorn, we're going to see on a global scale maybe some changes in shifts in government, and maybe they'll suddenly grow some conscience and a brain and start to address some of the major issues around the world like climate change, and starting to look at listening to the people. So it will be interesting to see in this just over 12 months what happens globally when we start to look at our political arenas and see how our heads of state and our leaders and things like that start to perform under this massive energy shift. It's a very, very interesting time because we've got Jupiter, the planet of opportunity and expansion, has just shifted into Capricorn, as I've mentioned. It's going to be holding hands or conjunct Venus, the planet of love and affection. So how this is going to affect us on a personal level is, for many of us, we're going to be sort of really focusing on, over this festive season, more about things that are important to us, the things that we love, the loving family environments, the people that we want to share that loving energy with, our family, our friends, our co-workers. And the emphasis won't be so much, I think, on the material side of the festive season, but more on the good times that we can have and reminiscing and talking about the things that are important to us and the things that are part of our fabric and our being. Hopefully, this will also start to instill some new family traditions where we start to look at bringing back sort of not necessarily things that are old fashioned or out of date, but starting to spend some more quality time with family. This may also connect with a resurgence in people sitting around the dining room table and having a game of cards, or bringing out an old board game or two, or actually purchasing some new ones and starting to create some family traditions over the holiday seasons like that, of everybody sitting around playing an old-fashioned board game instead of everybody individually sitting there on their devices and entertaining themselves and having a conversation over social media or sending an email. Won't it be wonderful to see people actually having a conversation for real and having one with a live person for a change? It's going to be a time where I think we all collectively around the globe over the next 12 months are going to reorganise how we approach things. We're going to be looking at how we sort of, our finances fit in with the rest of the world. And it's not necessarily a time where we're going to be short of money or have a shortage of money, but it will be a time where we start to question how we earn our money. Is it working for us? Is this really what I want to do with my life? So for many of the 12 signs, you will find it's a time of really thinking very hard about your job, your career prospects. Is it time to sort of look for a new career? Am I satisfied? Am I happy with where I'm going? Am I satisfied and happy with where my investments are? How much money am I to accumulate for my old age and my future? Is it a time now to sort of really sort of look at, have I got the best, deals for my utility bills, my cell phones, things like that? So there's going to be a lot of emphasis on looking at things like that. Not, and in another way, not necessarily to minimise this, but for most of us, we're going to be reorganising how we look at our health as well. For many people, that will be simplifying their lives and going back to a simpler form of eating and food production, of looking at what you're actually putting into your bodies and sort of being aware that we are what we eat. And if we want to feel more energized and feel more well generally, we need to be aware of the food that we're putting into our bodies. So this could see an upsurgence in the way that we the consumers, demand that we want our food production to be. We might be looking for more organic or more natural type of foods, less chemicals, less pesticides, and it's going to be a very interesting shift. So I wish you very well over the next 12 months with the Jupiter transit in Capricorn. And we don't forget, we've also still got Saturn and Pluto that are still doing their transit in Capricorn too. So there's going to be a lot of emphasis on the Capricorn energy for the next 12 months. So for those of you that are a fellow Sagittarian, happy birthday. It's our month. It's our time to shine. So I'm going to sort of quickly feature our candle of the week. And this week I've chosen My Angel in the Sky. Now, for those of you that regularly watch the show, you'll know this is a candle that I brought out in our range, fairly early in our range, to have a candle that we can use to celebrate and remember those that are no longer with us. And it's a special time of the year when we come to the holiday season where many of us want to have a candle burning to remember those that won't be sitting at the Christmas table with us this year, those of you that have lost loved ones in the past. And it's always nice to have a special, subtle candle burning in the background, that you can have something that doesn't sort of overpower the festivities, but also puts a really nice, calming sort of energy throughout the house. Now, this is my candle called My Angel in the Sky. It's something that I burn regularly for the month of December because I have lost loved ones throughout my life like other people have. I don't think any of us are immune to that. And it's one of my favourite candles to burn for that reason, because I feel that if we can hold them dear in our hearts, and people have said to me over the years, you must be mad, Amanda. I've always, since my husband died many years ago, always have a spare seat at the dinner table on Christmas Day for my late husband and any other relative that might want to pop in and join us. And my children used to think it was funny when they were little that, we'd set a place at the table for Daddy and put a party hat out and a Christmas cracker. But I wanted to set those traditions that just because he was gone, he wasn't forgotten, that it was something that they could sort of focus on and still bring happiness into their day, being little people and, the excitement of Santa coming and what the holidays bring. So it was a family tradition for us to do that. And my children have now grown and left home and do come home for the holiday season, but we still keep that tradition alive. And I always have a couple of these candles burning. So you'll find these in our store as well. So for those of you that don't want a big candle, can I suggest you can make up a gift box? This week I've made it up with 3 different candles, but you can choose any one from the 28 in the range. You can choose All My Angel in the Skies if you want little candles to burn, periodically around the house, or you can pick anything else that you might want. So we're happy to send these anywhere in the world, but they're a nice addition to your Christmas gift giving is a candle. So we're going to move the show right along and we're going to talk to Laura in Hamden, Ohio. Are you there, Laura?
I'm hanging in there. Nice to speak with you.
Lovely to speak with you too, Laura. Do you have a question I can work with, sweetie?
Yes. I've been struggling here lately with some health issues, and I was kind of wondering if you've seen anything in the near future for me.
Okay, Laura. First thing I must share with you, Laura, is by law, we're not allowed to talk about health issues in a definite sort of sense because I'm not a medical practitioner. But what I can do is I can look at the situation for you on an energetic level and share with you what I'm picking up in that way. So if that's fine with you, that's how we'll proceed. Okay, first thing that they're showing me was that there was an awful lot of emotional stuff, Laura, that you had to process and let go of. And I'm not just talking about this year. I'm talking about this has been building up, I think, fairly consistently over the last 3 years. But it's like it all came to a point this year where we had to sort of release it on a physical. Now, what a lot of people fail to realise, Laura, is when we talk about letting go of emotions, and you see lots of people talk about that, and there's lots of courses and lots of theories and lots of things on that, we don't often focus on the fact that it's all well and fine to let go of it emotionally, mentally, but we also have to release it on the physical. And people don't quite understand that. And that's quite often why we manifest illness or disease in the body, because it's our body's way of releasing or letting go of that emotion that we had locked in our physical bodies for some reason, or, things that we've just gathered over a lifetime. So that's part of what's been happening. Also, I'm going to say to you, I think that you are such a high energy person that you never really honour your body and standing still or sitting still for a while unless you're sick. It's like you keep going until you drop. So your body was sort of trying to share with you, it's okay, Laura, you can sit down, you are allowed to have a rest, and you don't have to have an excuse or a reason to have a rest other than you just want to. So I think by learning to listen to your body, which it's forced you to do in this last 12 months particularly, you're starting to bring everything back into a balance. Now, it's not just your health, it's other areas of your life as well. I also sort of feel what you've learnt in this last 12 months was you don't have to be everything to everyone, do you? That you can turn around and say no without a reason, without giving them an excuse or I can't do this because of that. The answer is just no. And that's taken you a long time because you're such a giving person and a person that doesn't like to disappoint anybody, that you gave so much of you that there was nothing left for Laura. And this is why this had to manifest in this way. They're not showing me anything here that I feel would be, when I say a serious thing, it's certainly what you've experienced health-wise is serious in its own right, but it wasn't life-threatening. So it's sort of like it just seemed to be one thing after another, but none of them collectively were life-threatening, even though they were annoying and you didn't like it and you don't like being sick. It certainly wasn't, well, I've only got 6 months to live or anything like that. So we have to put that in context of what it's actually meaning. Also, too, did you sort of notice in the time that you've had these changes going on how different people reacted to you because you weren't there, you weren't picking up the pieces for them?
No, not really. It's just come over, a period of time. And as you'd said, it's like the past 3 years. I lost my mom. It'll be 3 years this February.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as just gradually time going on, as you said, I'm a very giving person. And I don't like to disappoint. And I'm kind of like the mother hen of all. I take care of everybody. And I think, I really become to notice that whenever I just was just so emotionally and mentally drained.
Well, that's understandable, Laura. I mean, we all grieve in a very different way. And if there's one thing I've learned in all the years I've been in this sort of work, there is no bus timetable for grief. People used to say to me, oh, once you get through the first 12 months, that's the hardest. Well, I disagree with that. I think the first 12 months, in a sense, yes, it's difficult and it's such a shock. And yes, we've got to learn to work with that. But at the same time, it's in a sense comforting because we can refer back to this last holiday season or this last Easter or mum's last birthday or the last time we went on a picnic. And once you get over that first 12-month anniversary of everything, it's much harder, I think, in that second and third year because all of a sudden we don't think back to 2 Christmases ago with mum. It's sort of like, oh, my goodness, mum's never going to be here again to share this. And it's like the realisation hits you. And it hits you in such a way that you sort of think, gee, I think I've been run over by a steamroller. And by then, everybody else around you is expecting you to be better. And they're sort of busy getting on with their lives, which they should. But that's the time when I think you need people the most. And it's sort of like there's really literally no one there, other than people that might be close and have the same loss as you do.
Right. I'm not associated with anybody or close to anybody at all.
No, but even if you were, they're busy trying to keep their head above water. Do you know what I mean? Like they're not going to reach out and say, gee, I'm struggling, because they don't want to be seen as, being silly or why aren't they coping when everybody else seems to be coping. So grief is a very personal thing. And I was only talking to somebody last week about this, that they were saying it had been 30 odd years since they'd lost somebody very significant in their life. And I said, well, are you struggling again? And they said, yes. Why is that so? And I tried to explain to them again the same thing. There is no bus timetable. And some years it will be harder than others. And it's not necessarily, can you say it's the 30th year or the 24th year or the 3rd year that it gets the hardest. It's a personal thing for everyone. But I feel your mum is certainly very strongly around you. And she's sharing with me that there's a lot of endings and a lot of change and a lot of positive things to come in this next 12 months. She keeps showing me a pink flower, but I wouldn't say it's a rose. I would say an unusual sort of flower. Was there something that was particularly she liked that wasn't a common flower?
A carnation.
Right. Okay. That's not common by today's flowers. It's one of my favourites, actually, and I very rarely ever see them here in Australia now. But, yes, that would fit what I'm seeing because it was a small pink flower. Well, she was handing me a single pink flower to give to you. So I'm taking from that, that's her way of telling you that everything's going to be okay and enjoy the holiday season. And she wants no more tears if possible. She wants to see some joy in those eyes again, Laura.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay, sweetie. That's where we're going to leave it because I've got to work with Kimberly now in Fairfield in California. Are you there, Kimberly?
Hi.
Hi, Kimberly. Do you have a question for me, sweetheart?
I do. So I'm currently facing some criminal charges, and I'm just kind of curious to what the outcome is going to be. Is there going to be jail time? If so, how much? How is it looking for me?
Okay, so it's you that's facing the criminal charges, is it, Kimberly?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, sweetheart. I said, I'm sorry to hear that, sweetheart. Look, the first thing that they're sort of showing me is that not all the information yet has been presented. So, and I'm not talking about in the court of law. I'm talking about the case itself against you. To me, there seems to be more information that they're sort of gathering or putting together. Look, I don't like to predict the fact that this is, that you're not going to be facing some sort of time for this, but I do feel that there will be consequences for this. I mean, it's not something that it's within my jurisdiction to say how heavy your sentence is going to be or what the outcome's going to be in that way. I think you already know that there will be consequences for your actions, and I think you're ready to accept them and take it on the chin. The thing is, I feel now that you're starting to realise that maybe you could have made some better choices, and you're starting to learn from your own actions, and that's a good thing. It's not that I think that you were easily led, Kimberly, but I think part of what happened here, you were just in the zone, and it's like you didn't really apply common sense to some of the things that you did. And I think that's got you into a little bit more hot water than maybe you were aware of what could happen. So, look, I know that there's consequences for your actions. They don't show me what they actually are, but I do think that they're going to be a little bit less than what has been predicted. I'll put it that way.
Okay. Well, that's good news.
Yeah, I mean, by how much, I don't know. They were just showing me it's a little bit less than what, you've been told could very well be. But I feel with that, there's also going to be other layers to that, like there may be programs or something that you'll need to participate in as part of the package of what is brought down. So, I mean, the important thing, Kimberly, is you've learnt from this. You won't make these choices again in your lifetime. And I feel somewhere further down the track, the situations that you got yourself into now that you're facing now will become more important in a different way a bit further down the track. I think it's going to be something that's going to lead you into a new career, strangely enough, where you're going to be helping other people not go down the path that you went. So, I'm a firm believer everything happens in our lives for a reason, even if we can't see the bigger picture at the time. There is always a reason why these things happen. And for you, I think this is going to be life-changing, and not in quite the way that you first anticipate. This is going to lead on to other choices, other decisions, and other steps in your life that are going to be much more fulfilling than certainly that this was. And it's a good thing. There's going to be good that's going to come out of this negative situation, shall I put it that way, Kimberly? So I wish you well. I know that you're facing this head on, and that's the only way you can. And you're not sort of turning around blaming anyone else. You're saying, I'm fully responsible for this, and I'm happy to, well, not necessarily happy, but I'm ready to take whatever is dished out to me over this for my choices, and you will do it and do it well, and then you'll be ready to move on. So we wish Kimberly well with her future ahead. So it's a very interesting time of the year, as we've spoken about with the holiday season. It's always a very difficult time because we all remember those that won't be joining us this festive season. And for those of you that it's new to having that spare space at the table that was filled last year, I know it's going to be incredibly difficult, but make sure that you still honour their wishes and their memory and the things that they like to do. And sometimes it's nice when we've lost somebody to sort of bring back a tradition that maybe they were fond of. If they loved, hiding all the Christmas crackers from the children, then maybe use that tradition that they had in their memory. There's always ways that we can honour the people that are no longer with us and keep their memory alive. And it's interesting how the smaller members of the family, the children and the grandchildren, love to hear stories about people that aren't at the Christmas table, because to them it's part of them learning and growing from their family experience and understanding maybe something that why they find that really amusing or it feels comfortable to them. So it can be quite comforting to know that even little people sort of do take on family traditions and traits without even being aware of it or being taught. So remember those sort of traditions as we head towards Christmas. And as I said, it's my favourite time of the year. And whether you have a fresh tree or whether you have an artificial tree, I mean, that's a personal choice. But make sure that you decorate it and you embrace it and you enjoy it, because it's supposed to be about looking at the tree and sort of, spending a little bit of time wondering and meditating or just daydreaming about what your life could be and what positive things we've got in our lives and things that we've got to look forward to and the things that we've got to be thankful for. And I think that's what the magic of Christmas is about, is to be able to be positive and have fun and, don't eat too many things that you shouldn't eat, but, that's part of the joy of it too, is having treats that we normally don't have during the year. For me, it's going to be certainly my favourite thing is fresh mangoes and seafood, so that'll be my treat for the year. That's my favourite things to eat. But for many of you, you have lots of holiday traditions, and I think it's the year to sort of really bring some of those old family traditions back out into the light and sort of embrace them and enjoy them and call it grandma's pie or whatever the case may be. And as I said, we have many traditions in our household, and one of them is that our Christmas tree must always touch the roof. No matter how small it is, you can put it up on boxes on top of a cupboard, but it must always touch the roof. And I'm a fresh tree person, so for those of you, if you want to share with me what your family traditions are and your Christmas treats are, I'd love to hear from you. So until next week, enjoy the festive season and get ready for Christmas. Bye for now.